So today is Friday, July 5th. I'm going to go back and review how some of the ichimoku predictions actually fared. So next gen, NXGN, that was a double bullish ichimoku before earnings, and that was back in May of 2019. So let's go back here. So with next gen, it was double bullish before earnings, and that so that was back in May. And of course, you got to go back because the span A is forecasted out, but that was around. Let's see, no, it was double bullish. The span A was over here, and the Tenkan Kijun was bullish. So I assumed that that would beat earnings because of the double bullish Ichimoku. And sure enough, they beat earnings. They did, but it ended up going down. So while that was a reliable estimate of whether they were going to beat or miss earnings because it was double bullish, again, you have to look forward. Remember, the span A predicts forward, but the span A was above the B, and Tenkan was above the Kijun. So the Tenkan Kijun is right in line with the current time, but the span A and span B are over here. And the most important thing really was the stochastic and the RSI. So those were closer to being overbought, and even though it beat earnings, it ended up plummeting quite a bit downwards. But if you stayed in, it went back up. So next gen, double bullish Ichimoku did give a reliable prediction that was going to beat earnings. However, because it was oversold, it went down. So let's go to another one. NGL over in May. NGL. And again, in May, we were looking at earnings right around here. Let's expand this out. So what happened in May was you had a double bullish Ichimoku. Obviously the span was over here, but the Tenkan was above the Kijun. That did forecast an earnings beat. Went up a little bit. Oversold for earnings, so that was extra helpful. So we like seeing that. That made it look like it was going to beat earnings, and it did. So next one we could find NEO, N-E-O. So NEO, N-E-O, back in February. So back in February, it was very oversold. RSI and stochastic back in February, very oversold.
Yeah, don't spray me, man.
And that was not an earnings trade. It was just pure overbought, oversold.
I do have laser eyes. And take off my sunglasses or my contacts.
That was around February. So let's see where we were.
Sometimes though, and I'm working on it, I've been practicing my ice moves. You said that last time. No, actually, I want to get off.
Well, it wasn't actually oversold with the RSI. It was just right around here, February 7th for 8th. It was just the stochastic that was oversold, so that wasn't good enough. And the Tenkan, it was trading right around the bullish Tenkan. So that wouldn't have been an example of an oversold RSI, so let's not go with that one. Let's go with the next one. So MU back in March. So place this trade March 6th. MU, and that was Tenkan crossing below the Kijun, short-term bearish, but span A was bullish long-term. So we'll go back to March for MU. March 10th. And that showed, again, the span A was short-term bearish, but let's see where that ended up. So that was a close of 39.03, and the span A was predicting. So that did. The Tenkan ended up crossing over. You ended up having a close slightly higher, but then you had a huge plummet downwards. And that's where the Tenkan Kijun went bearish. It went on the downside of the Tenkan Kijun here, and then you would have just stayed out until Tenkan Kijun made a switch right around here. So you need to play the Tenkan Kijun, otherwise if you go with just the spans, you could get caught up there. So let's look at MOV, double bearish ichimoku before earnings. And that was May 29th. So MOV. So that was May 29th. Earnings there. And that had a double bearish ichimoku. So you can see here, Tenkan below the Kijun, span B above the span A, and even furthermore so stochastic and RSI were pretty close to oversold, but the Tenkan Kijun bearishness, the fact that it was reliably trading below that Kijun, bearish Tenkan Kijun, the days leading up to it, and it was trading below that, and then it just totally plummeted. So back here, when RSI and stochastic were oversold, you could have gotten a decent bump, but still not a good play. LW, they had earnings April 2nd, so LW. And LW, Ichimoku and Chiku double bearish before earnings. So it looks like they had earnings before market. Somehow it opened up, but close price $33.97, slightly up, and then down. So LW, it was actually a bullish Tenkan. But it did forecast a significant drawdown afterwards. KSS. So KSS earnings were in May. KSS had candles beneath the bearish Tenkan, and they ended up missing earnings. So that's another bearish sign. So that, see, very bearish Tenkan below the Kijun, and the candles trading below the bearish Tenkan Kijun. JKS. So JKS shows their recent earnings. JKS had a bullish ichimoku before earnings. This is back in March we're looking at. JKS, so you can see bullish Ichimoku, yellow span A above the blue, Tenkan above the Kijun, Chiku above the span. It was trading above the Tenkan Kijun. They missed earnings. And that was a tough call because it was all the way up from the last earnings cycle. However, if you go to the next one for JKS, bullish Tenkan Kijun, however, it fell below, and that's when you got out.